In this video we're going to be talking a bit about the Dwarven army roster. It was revealed a time ago, but I just haven't had the time to take a look at it. So let's start out with the Dwarfiest of the Dwarfy. The artillery. The Dwarves boast everything from your standard artillery, archaic artillery, rock throwers. These are catapults. Then we have the organ gun, a multiple shot weapon. You've seen this in the videos posted by the Creative Assembly and the videos I've made about them. Then we have a flame cannon, believe you've also seen that one. And the standard cannon. I do quite miss the Dwarven mortar and the Dwarven ballista, just for a bit more variety. Like, a ballista could be a lot better, for example, at targeting enemy flyers and big nasty things. The cannons would have more damage potential, but then be less accurate than the bolt thrower. More reliable than the bolt thrower. Then we have Dwarfed Warriors, and the Dwarfed Warriors come with the option to either have a shield, a standard set of equipment, shield and a hand weapon, or they could, let's see here, they could be wielding double-handed axes. Now, two troop choices being that are essentially have the same stats but different weapons. I think that's a good idea. But I wonder whether one of them is going to have a big enough advantage over the other that they're worth bringing. So, for example, if we find that shock infantry dominates, two-handed axes dominate, then you're just going to be seeing dwarf axes. But if the added protection in combat and the damage to missiles is reduced enough from the shield, then it could be well worth it bringing the warriors instead, if they stack up defensively. You just don't know that yet. The same with Longbeards. You have Longbeards, more elite unit of dwarves with either hand weapons or the axes. You have the hammerers wielding two-handed weapons. And whether these great weapons, the hammers and the big axes, are going to be the same weapon, I just don't know. They essentially do the same thing in the Warhammer game. Then we have Quarrelers. The Quarrelers, a crossbow unit, long range, reduces enemy armor. They also have the option to come equipped with double-handed axes, and that could be quite funny, a skirmish unit with double-handed axes. But it sort of begs the question, if you have a crossbow unit with a double-handed axe, and you're going to be standing and shooting at things, since you're a dwarf, why bring dwarf axes why bring dwarf warriors with two-handed axes? Maybe it's worth bringing either unit, we'll see. Then you have Thunderers, wielding handguns. You have a few units that I'm not able to show here. You have Miners, and with blasting charges, that could be interesting to see how that plays out. Then we have the, let's see, where are my little Slayers? Here, the Slayers. It would also be nice to be able to customize your Slayers, so have Slayers with big axes, or have Slayers with two-hand weapons, increasing their attacks and so on. Some units, I've talked about them in the other video, the Iron Drakes with the Trollhammer Torpedo, the Gyrocopter and such. I'm going to link to that video if you want to know a bit more, if you haven't already seen what those units are all about. But having a quick count, the Dwarves have about 20 units, and some of those units are duplicates with different weapons, so quite a lot of units are left out of the Dwarven roster. I just wonder, like, and some lords and heroes like Gotrek Gurnison, one that I guess Gotrek and Felix, something that a lot of people are going to want to see, I think. But then again, they might be put in at a later point. They might be DLC, they might be free LC, we just don't know. But it certainly seems that the Creative Assembly is leaving room in their faction rosters for DLC, because there are some essential units being left out of the Empire roster and certainly being left out of the Dwarven roster here. And if it's balanced and the units are well fleshed out, different upgrade options and so on, then 20 units might not necessarily be a bad number. But seeing the Empire roster, seeing all of the units left out, it sort of worries me that the flavor of having the option to customize a lot of different units is out of the game in favor of simplicity and fewer units. But we just don't know that yet. Don't know at this point. So I'm quite anxious to see that, but I have to admit my hopes are not up as for that. I think we're going to see Warhammer have the same thing as Attila, Rome 2, Rome, and Age of Charlemagne, where a few key units are going to be dominating the battlefields. So something like the customization options available, Veterancy for Shogun, would be extremely nice. Having the option to bring spear armies and have it be viable, sword armies have it be viable, mounted armies have it be viable, shooting armies have it be somewhat viable. Because with the dwarves you don't have any cavalry, you have your gyrocopters, but you do have a lot of shootiness. So you're going to want to hang back and shoot at the enemy for as long as possible, which of course makes the dwarves the ultimate camping army and the ultimate hill campers. Strength and honor.